Welcome to the Chunin exams. The week had been long and Sakura had changed her mind more times than she wanted to admit on what she was going to do. Half of the time she was sure that she was just going to skip the exam, while the other half she was more determined than ever to go through with it. Her mind kept going back to the genjutsu that she had lived through though at the start of the week. Some unknown ninja had tried to get her to back out of the exam by using a genjutsu that had made it seem as if Sasuke had died right before her eyes. If it hadn't been for the fact that she knew Sasuke wouldn't really have treated her so nicely, she might have fallen for it. But a Sasuke that wanted to just talk was odd. The fact that he hadn't demanded answers from her either made it even odder. The fact that he didn't seem to even remember what he said to her earlier had cemented it for her that she hadn't been dealing with the real Sasuke. Still, the image had been one that she had trouble getting out of her head. The fact that the image had then shifted to an impaled and bloodied Peter and Naruto hadn't helped her any. Seeing her two teammates lying there filled with blades had almost sent her over the edge. Still, she had managed to hold it together long enough to cancel the genjutsu. Team 7 made their way into the building. Their thoughts were on the upcoming tests and what they might entail, so they never even noticed as they saw the third floor sign appear earlier than they had expected. Entering the hallway, they saw a crowd of people around the door with the 301 sign on it. In front of the door were two boys who seemed intent on denying anyone from getting through. The group watched as a boy with a bowl haircut and bushy eyebrows tried to force his way past the pair, and a swift punch sent the boy flying back. A girl in a pink top and buns knelt down to check on him while a boy with long hair watched them silently. The two boys merely smirked at the group. One of the boys had wild spiky hair and had what looked like two giant kunai on his back, while the other wore a bandana on his head. Taking the Chunin exams, and you can't even get past us? Why don't you get out of here before you guys get hurt? Yeah, I think I hear your mommy calling ya, the other boy said mockingly. The girl looked at the pair with a pleading expression. Please let us through, we're supposed to go in there, she said, rising and began to make her way towards the door. The boy with the bandana snapped a punch at the girl, sending her to land beside the boy with bushy eyebrows. There was some muttering at this, and several of the genin seemed to be scared at what the boys were doing. Peter strode forward in annoyance. Touch another student like that and we'll see how tough you really are, he said, glaring at the boy. Is that a fact? The boy said with a grin as he turned to face the ninja. Come on, we're doing her and all the others a favor by doing this. You want to try me? Then go ahead, Peter said as he glared at the ninja who was smirking as he met the boy's glare. Try and touch her again and you'll be lucky if all I do is send you through that wall though, he assured the other boy while nodding towards one of the walls. While I'd love to see you try, that really isn't much of a bother to me. I'm just trying to make sure that she stays alive, the boy said, shrugging uncaringly. Yeah, the exams are going to make all of this seem like a picnic, the other boy said. Besides, if you take the exams, not everyone is going to walk out of them. These things have a way of changing you or even destroying you. For Chunin it's always life or death. They're the leaders and are the ones that lead missions. The lives of their fellow ninja are in their hands, so you better be tough enough to take the heat. Delicate little girls like that don't belong here, the other said, nodding toward the girl that was still lying on the ground glaring at the boys angrily. Yeah, we're just thinning out the herd. You won't pass anyways, so go home and play with your dolls, little girl, one of them said with a sneer aimed at the bun girl. This is a place for real ninja, not people playing dress up. The girl could be seen visibly shaking in fury and was doing her best to remain in one place. The worry in her face was shifting to true and righteous anger at the mocking that she was receiving as her mask began to crack under the attention of her tormentors. Real nice speech, a voice said from the back of the hallway. Everyone turned to look and see Sasuke and his team waltzing towards them as if they owned the entire place. Now both of you step aside and let me through, the boy said as he confronted the pair, completely ignoring Peter. While you're at it, remove the genjutsu as well. We can see through it anyways. Besides, we're going to the third floor. Third floor, what's he talking about? We're already on the third floor, aren't we? One boy questioned curiously. No one even bothered to answer him though, as they were all focusing on the confrontation between the pair of ninja and the Uchiha genin. Well, so you noticed the genjutsu, huh? The bandana-wearing boy said as he finally spoke to the dark-haired boy. Say I explain. Sasuke said in a bored and clipped tone. I'm sure the rest of these losers need all the help that they can get for this anyways. He added with a sneer as he looked around the hallway with other Chunin hopefuls. Indeed, Sasuke, the boy with a belly-showing shirt said. To start off with, this is only the second floor. At this, everyone quickly made a release symbol and they watched as the numbers warp and shift from 301 to 201. You forgot to mention the amount of chakra that's bleeding off of the sign, Sakura added competitively as the answers flowed through her. And then there's the fact that neither of them has done anything to show people why they should leave, meaning that they are probably conserving their energy to keep the genjutsu up. The hack is correct. The boy known as Sei returned. What did you call me? Sakura all but roared, as she grabbed the boy only for him to disappear into some sort of black liquid that spilled all over her hands. Some sort of clone? The girl said as she eyed the unknown liquid, then saw that Sei was back to standing with his friends. Despite all that, it was a good point, Sakura. Sasuke admitted grudgingly. Maybe you have your uses after all. The girl looked up happy at the praise. As long as there's no one to fight, that is. He added with a sneer, causing Sakura to wilt under his glare. Huh. Well, aren't we the smart ones? You noticed an illusion. The boy with giant kunai said mockingly. Let's see if you're as good on your feet as you are with your mouth, though. The boy then cartwheeled to kick out at the group. Sasuke was responding by moving to intercept the kick with one of his own. They were all surprised when the green-clad boy that had been lying on the floor suddenly appeared between the two boys and blocked their kicks with his forearms. Huh, he's almost as fast as Haku. Sakura noted to the other members of her team, getting agreeing nods from them and from the other members of Sasuke's team, since they had all seen the ninja in question fight. Not bad, Bruce Lee. Peter was heard muttering in appreciation for the move. Sasuke scowled as he glared at the boy's arms, as if trying to figure out how the other boy had managed to stop two heavy strikes at the same time. The other boy chose that inattention of the crowd to grab his partner and hide in room 201. The long-haired boy stomped up towards the green boy in annoyance. Hey, what happened to the plan? I thought you were the one that wanted to keep a low profile? The idea was to not let anyone see our real skill level. He shot at the boy angrily. The girl shook her head at the long-haired boy. Never mind, it's over. She told the pair even as the other boy tried stuttering out excuses. The boy then shouldered past Sasuke and Sei and stood in front of Sakura. My name is Rock Lee, you are Sakura, right? Aha. A confused Sakura said. Please be my girlfriend. The boy said, flashing a toothy smile and giving her a thumbs-up sign. I vow to protect you with my life. Sakura shook her head in disbelief while Peter snickered in amusement and Naruto growled angrily. Definitely not. The girl said. What, why? Lee practically whined back at her, much to the amusement of the others that were watching. Because you're a weirdo. Sakura returned to him matter-of-factly. The boy's shoulders slumped at this while Peter and Naruto laughed at the boys being so casually shot down. Sei on the other hand watched with great interest, as if the interaction was something that he had never seen before. Hey you, the long-haired boy said angrily as he came up behind Sasuke. What's your name? He demanded of the Uchiha. Sasuke slowly turned around and faced the long-haired boy, matching his glare with one of his own. It's common courtesy to offer your own name first. The Uchiha said snidely. I didn't know that you even knew the first thing about manners. Peter said from where he was watching the confrontation between the two. The two boys did their best to ignore the masked ninja, though the girl did smile at the joke. You're a rookie, aren't you? The long-haired boy said as if stating a fact. How old are you anyway? I'm not obliged to answer. Sasuke returned arrogantly. The long-haired boy glared angrily at the responses he was receiving. The boy was obviously not used to being refused when questioned. What's that? He asked coolly. The bun girl now openly giggled at seeing her teammate being denied. Peter shook his head as he realized Sasuke was dealing with another version of himself. You know what the real disturbing thing is? He questioned the girl. What? She asked, seemingly interested even as she watched the two boys try and stare each other down. They don't seem to realize that they share the same better than you attitude, Peter said with amusement. This caused the girl to giggle some more. Hey Naruto, Peter, come on, let's go, Sakura said as she dragged her teammates away from the room they were standing at. Several of the students were using the excuse of the genjutsu having beaten them to hurry away before anyone else noticed them. None of the group noticed the ninja watching them from behind the door to 201. So those are the bunch of misfits that Kakashi and Guy have been going on about, one of them said as he eyed the two squads with interest as they began walking away. I guess they passed their first test in getting their applications through. Yeah, the other agreed. Don't forget Darun's Yukaiho and his team. He reminded his companion, nodding towards where Sasuke was leading his own team away. They're almost as interesting as the other two teams are. The two boys then raised their hands and cancelled the henge on themselves, and a puff of smoke showed two boys in their late teens wearing grey ninja uniforms. They were Kotetsu Hagane and his partner Izumo Kamizuki. It looks like the exams are going to be fun this year, Kotetsu said. Yeah, for us, but maybe not for them, Izumo informed his partner. You think the Abaram kid is sweet on the bun girl? Izumo questioned his partner curiously. Oh, that's just what those two need, Kotetsu said with a laugh. Guy would probably make it a challenge for Lee to try and make that Sakura girl a girlfriend even more. Maybe do some sort of punishment for not training his kid to be youthful enough into getting the girl while Kakashi's student did. The two Chunin laughed at what the competitive Jonin would force his students to do as they watched the three teams split up and take different hallways to reach the third floor. Neither of them seemed to notice that the boy in green broke from his team to follow after Darun's team. This is going to be interesting, Peter noted to the others as they climbed the steps. He personally would have liked to go up the wall and slip in through the window, but the others wanted to use the door for some odd reason. He thought of all the ninja he had seen so far and admitted that this was going to be a tricky fight. That long-haired kid had reminded him of the guy in red suit with his imperial way of talking to people. The girl, well, he could easily see her in a blue and white outfit doing a series of kicks for some reason. As for the guy in green, there was simply no nice or decent way to describe the boy other than weird. As if conjured by his thoughts, they heard the boy up ahead. Hey, you with the attitude, hold on. Curious as to what could be going on, Team 7 broke into a run and entered the courtyard area. On one side was Team Trun, on the other side was Lee. Team 7 watched from atop of the steps as Lee confronted Sasuke. If we stay here, we're going to be late, Sakura reminded them, even as she continued to watch the approaching fight. Yeah, but we might learn something about the competition, Peter said as he took a seat on the wall and they watched as Sasuke tried to hit the other boy. Lee actually seemed to be moving too fast for the Yukaiha to anticipate, or rather the boy could anticipate the boy but nowhere near fast enough to block the other boy's movements. He's fast, Naruto noted from where he and Sakura were watching the fight. Yeah, and his taijutsu amazing, Sakura said as she watched the boy. He might even give Peter a bit of a problem. I think Haku could take him, Peter said, shrugging. How? He's probably even faster than Haku, Sakura said dubiously as she watched the boy seeming disappear yet again. Only it wasn't a Shunshin move, but was more like blurring. All of his disappearing and reappearing is really just moving really fast, Peter noted as he eyed the fight between the pair. Similar to when we channel chakra through our bodies to move faster. All Haku would have to do is to freeze the ground with a 10-foot radius around him and the boy would be stuck using kunai and shuriken in fighting. His feet wouldn't be able to get a purchase on the ground. I imagined that he would sacrifice some of his chakra into sticking to the ice, but then he would be about even with Haku in terms of speed. Unless you think that he's naturally that fast? He teased her with a grin. While Peter watched, he thought of a man in green outfit with a yellow mask and a dragon tattoo along with a man with white hair and a blue and white bodysuit that could move at incredible speeds. Lee managed to get the drop on Sasuke, launch him into the air and wrapped him up in the bandages that were on his wrists. The attack was interrupted though as a kunai came flying out of nowhere and pinned the bandages to the wall, letting Lee land against the wall while Sasuke fell to the floor painfully. Everyone followed the path of the weapon and saw a red and gold turtle that began scolding the boy for using the attacks he had. The boy tried to deny it, saying that the heat of battle had made him do it. The fact that he came up with the answer so fast though brought looks of doubt into everyone's eyes as they remembered the way the boy had been when confronted by his teammates overshowing his skills. The group then watched as a cloud of smoke appeared and a ninja that looked like an older version of Lee, only wearing a Jonin vest, appeared standing on the back of the turtle. "Hey everybody, how you doing?" the ninja asked as he struck a pose. "What do you think, Sakura? Think Lee might be a clone?" Peter asked as he watched the pair. He was trying to find any differences in the identical figures that looked like an older and younger version of the same person. Maybe medicine has gone a step forward somehow? It could be a henge. Sakura guessed somewhat hopefully as she studied the pair, somewhat disturbed by what she was seeing before her. Or maybe some weird sort of genjutsu to distract an opponent? I mean, there couldn't really be two people that would willingly look like that, right? She asked dubiously. "And look how weird he is," Naruto said loudly. "The same haircut, and even bushier eyebrows than Lee." Lee seemed to take offense at that, and turned to yell at Naruto. "Do not insult Guy-sensei. He is one of the greatest men in the entire world." "Well, excuse me for not noticing his greatness. I was too busy noticing him climb out from under a giant turtle," Naruto shouted back at him. Lee was quick to rise to the defense of his mentor. "He did not crawl out." "Give it a rest, Lee, we still have to deal with your punishment," Guy said in a loud voice. The other genin watched as the older version of the two then smacked the younger Lee with a hard right cross. "You fool!" the ninja bellowed out. The members of Team 7 winced while Team 1 actually nodded in approval over the harsh-seeming punishment that had just been dealt to the boy. Guy then walked up to the boy and knelt at his side. "I'm sorry I had to do that, Lee, but it's for your own good." The two teams were then forced to watch as the pair were hugging and crying against each other. "They're insane," Sakura said, as she listened to them discuss running a few hundred laps as punishment for attacking Sasuke and using that particular style. "Maybe," Naruto said in amusement, "but what's the deal with the turtle anyways?" "Simple, Naruto, it's a ninja turtle." Peter joked. The smile on his face died as he got confused looks from the others. "For some reason that I don't know that actually made sense in my head," the masked teen said in confusion as he tried to puzzle out what he had just been saying to the others. "Well then, what have we here?" the ninja boomed at the two squads. "Toru's and Kakashi's teams, eh?" he said as he examined the two groups. "You know Kakashi-sensei?" a surprised Naruto questioned the green-clad man. "Well, people do say that we are arch-rivals for all eternity," the man said in a voice he hoped was mysterious. "There's just no way," Naruto and Sakura proclaimed to the man. Lee seemed to take offense at their quick denial. "How dare you? If Guy-sensei says that it is, then it is true." "Let it slide, Lee," Guy said with a tooth-flashing smile. A ninja's actions always speak louder than words. The group blinked and the man seemed to disappear only to reappear behind them. "My record is 50 wins and 49 losses," the man said in an almost casual voice. "Which is one better than his, by the way," he added smugly. This guy beat Kakashi-sensei?" Naruto asked, still sounding somewhat dubious though no longer as sure as he had been before after the display of ability the man had just shown. "So fast," Sasuke muttered in surprise as he gazed at the larger version of Lee. Guy preened slightly at the praise from the prodigy. "The fact is, that I'm stronger than Kakashi and faster than Torun," Guy assured the two teams. "You see, Guy-sensei is the best there is," Lee told the two teams matter-of-factly. "Maybe, but I'd rather deal with the one that's the best there is at what he does, and what he does ain't pretty, than some guy with flashy teeth." Peter returned to the other boy. After saying that, though it felt strangely familiar as if he had heard those words before. Guy face-palmed at this before he looked at Sasuke with embarrassment. "I apologize for any trouble that Lee might have caused you." Sasuke grunted at the man in return, his mind obviously on other things than what was being said. "Lee, you should accompany these fine young ninja to the classroom. Right now," he ordered as he threw another kunai to release the one that held the wrappings that Lee had used to tie Sasuke up with. As soon as the bandages were free, Lee began the process of returning them to where they had been. Naruto ignored the older ninja and focused instead on how the boy was wrapping his hands with the bandages. "Remember, Lee, to do your best," Guy assured his student. "Yes sir," Lee said with a salute. "Well, now that drama is over and done with, I think that we should go," Peter said, gesturing towards the steps. The others all waved while Lee and Sasuke stayed behind for a few parting words. After they finished speaking, the boy performed several gymnastics and disappeared. "How about that? It looks like the Uchiha aren't as good as everyone thinks they are," Naruto said with a smirk as his eyes followed where Lee had gone. "I mean, first Haku and now Lee. I can still wipe the floor with you any day of the week, loser." Sasuke snarled back at the orange-wearing ninja. "Next time I'll drive him to his knees," he declared. "Yeah right, who just got his butt kicked?" Naruto returned to him. Peter and the other two members of Sasuke's team all smiled as they listened to the blonde finally getting in some decent verbal shots against the Uchiha. "You saw his hands, didn't you? When he took off the tape?" the boy asked the other ninjas. At this each of them recalled the bruised and battered hands that Lee had sported. "A very fine observation," I complimented the blonde. "I bet old Bushy Brows has been training non-stop from dusk till dawn. He definitely trains longer than you do," Naruto added while glaring at Sasuke as if daring him to correct that. "Amazing what happens when you're up against someone else that dedicates their training to as much time as you have," Peter said wryly. "This thing is really starting to get interesting," Sasuke said with a maniacal grin. "The Chunin exams, I can't wait to see what's next. Almost makes you wonder if Lee didn't hit him in the head," Peter said as they watched the boy. "Well, we'll see you on the other side," Naruto assured the boy. "Yeah, the two of you got unfinished business to deal with before this thing is all through," Peter said with a knowing look. "Hey, if you really think that you've gotten that good, I'll save you a seat on the other side then," Sasuke assured the other boy arrogantly as he walked away with his team. "Until then, Dobi," Sasuke called over his shoulder. "Come on," Sakura said, "we have to get up there as well." The boys nodded and followed their teammate. They had an exam to dominate. The team swallowed as they entered the long hallway and made their way down. At the end of the hallway was the real room 301. The only person standing there was Kakashi. "Glad you came, Sakura," Kakashi said in a deep, serious voice that was nothing like the light and amused tone that he normally used, "for your sakes and the others. Now you can all formally register for the Chunin exam." "Why, what do you mean?" Sakura questioned him with interest, though doing her best to take the situation as serious as their sensei appeared to be. Kakashi stared at the group for a moment before focusing back on Sakura. "You see, only groups of 3 are allowed to apply for and take the Chunin exam. That's the way it's always been." "But sensei, you said that decision to take the exams was up to the individual." A confused Sigura said to the man. That's right, I did, Kakashi returned solemnly. Was it a lie? Sigura questioned curiously with a hint of confusion. Sort of, Kakashi admitted as he looked away from the girl. It is an individual decision, but it affects all of you. Look underneath the underneath. The three ninjas sing-songed at the older man. Precisely, Kakashi complimented the three. I didn't tell you before because I didn't want the boys pressuring you. At the same time I didn't want you to feel obliged to participate because of any feeling you might have for Peter or Naruto. I wanted to come to the decision of your own free will, he explained to the girl. Wait a minute. Do you mean to say that if the others had shown up but I had decided not to come with them? A shell-shocked Sigura asked as she realized what he hadn't been telling her. It would have been the end of the line, Kakashi informed her. If you hadn't come along I couldn't have let the others in. But it's a moot point, you're all here and for the right reasons, Kakashi said with pride as he examined his students. And what are our reason? A curious Peter questioned the man with interest. Kakashi looked the boy over. Do you really want me to say it in front of the others? You might not like it if the others know that much about you. The Jonin warned his team. How about just the basics then, Kakashi-sensei? A suddenly nervous Sigura requested. Yeah, it might be interesting. Naruto agreed. Very well, since you're all in agreement I suppose I can explain it to you in the basics as to why you all want to move on to Chunin, Kakashi said as he looked his three students over. Peter wants more impressive missions that will take him farther and farther out in the hopes that he will find out just who is and where he came from. Naruto wants to advance because he sees it as the next step to proving himself to the entire village. And finally there is Sigura, you wanted a chance to test yourself to see how strong you have truly become. Each of those reasons is a good one and is a worthwhile reason to want to be here today. I only hope that you can all find just what it is that you're looking for during these tests. Peter, Sigura, and Naruto. I'm proud of you, the man said, his mask shifting to indicate that he was smiling just as wide if not wider than Guy had been moments ago. I couldn't ask for a better team. He then stepped to the side to allow them room to pass. Good luck, he told them. We won't let you down, sensei, Naruto assured the Jonin as they moved forward to walk through the doors. Believe it. Once they walked through the doors they snapped shut behind them and the trio found themselves looking around the room.
I'm glad you enjoyed that video/gameplay. Just remember to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below. Until next time, goodbye!